How does Australia compare to the countries around it? How many Australians are getting on rickety boats in search of a better life elsewhere versus how many people are trying to come here? That is the proof of the pudding for me. Increasingly, not only our young people, but frankly most people, are unable to explain how that happened. And that is a fact that requires explanation. It's not random. It's not an accident that this country is as thriving and prosperous as it is in comparison to the others around it. It's not an accident. It is a product of the fact that Western culture and Western civilization is very, very good at creating the sorts of things that attract people to come here. Safety and prosperity.
I mean, this guy's a comedian, right? He's a comedian. He's a satirist or something? Satirist, right? Because if this is satire, it's gold. It has to be comedy. If it's comedy, it's gold. If it's supposed to be serious political discourse, then it's psychopathy. I mean, this man just said, he just said the equivalent of Ted Bundy really had a way with the ladies, you know? Jeffrey Dahmer was a great innovator in individual food security. I mean, Australia, you can't be serious. And you wonder why the West is backing the genocide in Gaza. They deeply believe in genocide. The ends justifies the genocide as far as they're concerned. He's literally saying exactly what I've been saying about the West, except as an advocate. Look, Australia is a successful economy, and people like to come here because so-called Western civilization is just so good at brutal colonization, decimating indigenous populations and building resorts and hotels on the corpses of their victims. See? No one's trying to escape from Australia. No one's trying to escape from Australia on rickety boats because the white colonizers won there. They conquered the whole place. They took over completely, with the backing of Western imperialists, and all but obliterated the original people, treated them like animals, committed genocide. And now things are great for the colonizers. Meanwhile, Western imperialists waged savage colonization across the entire region of Southeast Asia, where there were too many people to erase from existence. The Philippines, Indonesia, Malaysia, Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, sabotaged them, exploited them, oppressed them for hundreds of years. Britain, Portugal, Spain, France, America raped and pillaged and enslaved those countries for centuries. Southeast Asia, Indochina. I mean, he can't possibly be ignorant of this history. And if this is not satire and he isn't ignorant of history, then what he's saying is that this history is actually praiseworthy and genocide is good. Savagery is good. Pillage and piracy and invasion and occupation and ethnic cleansing, slavery, subjugation, these are all unique and wonderful elements of Western brilliance and supremacy. Australia is the most vibrant and beautiful example, the most successful model, because it is comprised of the people who committed the crimes, whereas all of the other countries in the region are comprised of the victims of the crimes. And that's the proof of how great the West is in his mind. Well, this is moral dementia. But yes, of course, you can see why they support Zionism, why they support genocide in Gaza. Well, the only genocide that they disapprove of, the only genocidal monster that they deem to be a monster, is the one who fails to see it through to completion. And they'll throw their full support behind them, just like the UK did with Australia, hoping that the project of mass murder will win in the end, so that they never have to apologize or acknowledge that it was inhuman and unholy. They just want to see resorts and hotels built with the bones of the Palestinians, and that would make it all worthwhile, you see? This is what I've been telling you. This is what I've been trying to tell you about the West. They're sick. This man is saying exactly what I've been telling you about so-called Western civilization. The only problem in their mind with formerly colonized countries is that they are formally colonized. They should have just laid down, knelt down on their knees at the feet of Western imperialists and embraced their own slaughter for the greater good of rich white people. But they were too uppity, too recalcitrant, you know? Too resistant to domination and humiliation and subjugation, so they had to be punished. If only they had just let the colonizers obliterate them, then they wouldn't have to try to escape the deprivation and the misery that we inflicted on them by getting on those little rickety boats he was making fun of. You know, the only victims of Ted Bundy and Jeffrey Dahmer who suffered long-term trauma were the ones who had the audacity to survive. This man is literally applauding psychopathy as the height of moral refinement, as the height of human refinement. You know, it says something in the video about the virtues of monoculturalism. And yes, the West believes in that. They believe in it so much that they want to go everywhere around the world and impose it. They want to wipe everyone out. They want a white Western monoculture, not just in the West, but everywhere they go. And they enforce it through genocidal violence, and they always have, just like Australia, just like America, and just like Israel. I mean, we can ask, you talk about why do the victims of the West try to escape the conflict zones and the poverty that you inflicted on them? Why do they try to escape to the West? Well, we can ask you the same thing. We can ask you, if your lands were so great, why didn't you stay in them? Why did you go all around the world, invade our countries, occupy our countries, colonize our countries? Why couldn't you stay where you were if it was so brilliant and so wonderful? I mean, why are there 20 million people of British and European descent even in Australia to begin with, if the West is so wonderful? You came to our shores long before we ever came to your shores, and you brought nothing but ruin and misery. So you can't blame us for trying to escape what you caused, what you brought. You took everything from us, and then when we try to go to where you took everything of ours, you vilify us. You say we are illegal immigrants. We are illegal for trying to escape your crimes. You took everything from us, and it's illegal for us to go to where you took it. And the fact that you could take it, the fact that you are successful criminals, you think that that makes you a great so-called civilization, while you're nothing but criminals. Nothing but pirates and marauders, thieves and mass murderers. You pave over the bodies of your victims, and then you brag about your infrastructure.